Okay, let's unpack this one. We're doing a deep dive today into a source dated May 28, 2025. And it's specifically looking at U.S. visa rules. The focus,
Yeah.
Chinese applicants.
Right. And what jumps out immediately, or at least what this report flags, is the context it adds. It brings up potential connections, maybe influence involving prominent political figures.
Yeah, the source explicitly mentions Trump and Rubio, so that's the angle it's taking.
Exactly. It's looking at that intersection.
So our mission here, for you listening, is really to pull apart the core points from this specific source.
Mm-hmm.
What's it actually saying about this connection? The visa rules are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And what claims does it make specifically about Trump and Rubio? Why does this report highlight this intersection?
Well, it gets pretty specific, actually. The source zeroes in on investor visas for Chinese nationals. That seems to be the main area.
Okay, investor visas, not all visas.
No, exactly. And then it describes alleged efforts, attempts to influence policy around those visas. It points to specific actions it attributes to figures like Trump and Rubio or people connected to them.
Right, so it's narrowing the field significantly. And does the report give, examples of how this influence supposedly happened?
It does, yeah. According to the report, the alleged influence involved things like advocacy, pushing for changes or maybe special considerations, in the criteria or the processing for these investor visas.
Advocacy, yeah.
And the source does cite specific instances or claims to, things like reported meetings, communications perhaps, where this advocacy supposedly took place involving people linked, associated somehow with Trump and Rubio. That's the claim.
Gotcha. So it's alleging concrete actions tied to specific individuals, all focused on this particular investor visa program. It's not just general political noise.
Yeah.
This report claims a tangible link,
Oh,
a mechanism.
precisely. That's what the report lays out. These alleged connections, it suggests, were aimed at affecting the approval process, maybe the flow for certain Chinese applicants under that specific program. It sort of posits these connections as, well, potential pathways where political factors might intersect with how visas are actually administered.
Yeah, and understanding a report like this one, one that drills down into a specific thing like investor visas and then connects it to alleged actions by figures like Trump and Rubio, well, it helps you see the different layers involved, doesn't it, in how policy gets reported. It shows how a source can try to go beyond just, here's the rule, and explore the forces potentially shaping it, as reported, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. It really underscores why looking at the details a source provides is so important. Which visa program? What specific actions are being alleged? Who is reportedly involved? That's key.
Right.
That's where you get the real substance of the claims being made in a report like this one. You need that granularity.
Okay, so that kind of brings us toward the end of this particular deep dive. We've pulled out how this specific source from May 28th, 2025 focuses its lens quite tightly. It's alleging influence from figures connected to Trump and Rubio concerning U.S. investor visa rules for Chinese applicants.
Uh-huh. Detailing claimed actions, potential impacts.
And getting a handle on these specific points directly from the source itself, well, that's how you cut through some of the noise, right?
Yeah.
It helps you grasp what's actually being reported, not just the headlines.
Definitely. And maybe something for you to think about after this. Consider the broader implication this specific report raises. Even from just one source, how do these detailed accounts about alleged specific actions by specific people concerning narrow policy areas like one visa program, how do they end up shaping the larger conversation? The bigger narrative around immigration or political influence? What does focusing on these kinds of reported specifics tell us about the dynamics that sources choose to highlight?
Yeah, that's a really good point to mull over, food for thought.